I'm so glad you've joined me for this workout that targets your glutes, hamstrings, chest, shoulders, and triceps. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll even work the core. Let's get started. I always like to get loosened up, and my foam roller is one of my favorite tools for that. So go ahead, if you've got a foam roller there, and start to roll one side at a time, getting your glute muscles a little bit smoothed out, bringing some blood flow there. If you don't have a roller, you can do some gentle stretching and things while we roll out. So just working on one side at a time. I'm going to tip to my other side and roll the length of my glute. Don't shy away from those sticky spots if there's a place that feels a little bit more sore, or there's like maybe an adhesion there, like it feels like there's something kind of stuck. You can do just a little 2-inch roll over that area. Or sometimes you just need to stay on it and breathe just a little bit. So coming to square, I'm sort of sitting up on top of my roller. I'm just going to glide sort of the length of my sacrum and then lengthen out my hamstrings here. So rolling that lowest bit of my spine. And notice that by doing this, I'm opening my chest just a little bit. Good, just a couple more. Kind of forgot to get into my hamstrings there on that last one. So I'm going to take advantage, lengthen out the hamstrings, and then come all the way down. We'll take a moment to roll the upper back. I'm going to cross my arms for this. Do what's comfortable for you, just massaging out your upper back, making sure you're breathing. Foam rolling is a great way not just to get a little bit of self-massage, but it really brings some blood flow into the muscles. So when we're getting ready to work out, it's not really that we're trying to relax the muscles so much at this moment, although it does help to just kind of check in where we might have some sticky spots. But you want to bring some blood flow and get the muscles ready to work. So I've got this tucked right in my armpit, right in my sort of shoulder crease, and I'm just going to do this little snow angel movement. So sort of sweeping my arm across the floor. We'll be doing a lot of chest today, so I want my chest to be warmed up and make sure my shoulders are moving well. So going ahead and just sweeping that arm across the floor. And then feel free to set your roller to the side. If you have it, we'll be using it more later, but let's just come onto our side. Top leg, knee is down on the floor. Stack your hands. We're going to fan the arm open, keeping your knee on the floor. So bring your palms back together and then open up. So now we're getting into a bit more mobility work, really checking in with our joints to see what range of motion we've got available today. Being mindful if there's any areas, again, that feel sticky or if there's pain. This is a great time to just self-assess. So taking a moment to just be with yourself and notice how you're feeling and how ready you feel for your workout. If there's any areas of your body where you're feeling pain today, please hit pause. Please take a little extra time to stretch those areas or see if you can start feeling a little bit better. And just make notes. You might find that if there's pain anywhere, you might want to skip certain exercises or just go a little bit lighter with your weights. So I'll leave that up to you as you go through your workout. But let's come back onto our back. I am going to use my roller, but you don't need it. It's just an option. It's something that feels kind of nice for these next couple movements. But I'm going to take a hip bridge, slide the roller right under my tailbone. So I'm not in the low back curve. I'm a little bit lower, like right under my pelvis. I'll straighten one leg and hug the other knee towards my chest, finding a lot of length in the front side of this hip flexor. And then we can do a few little ankle circles. Just getting ready for our workout. And then hugging behind the hamstring, let's bend and straighten. So just starting to get that hamstring to wake up. We'll be using hamstrings a lot today. All right, hug both knees together and then switch. So letting that other leg go long, stretching out the front side of the hip flexor. This works perfectly well on the floor too, but being elevated on a roller or a rolled up mat can really enhance this stretch. So it's a great one to try. All right, bend and straighten your leg. I like to think about pushing my heel as far away from my hip as I can. So really emphasizing that lengthening. Super nice. And then again, hug both knees in. I like to sort of rock on the roller. I know we all have certain spots in our body that just sort of carry our fatigue and stress. And for me, it's my low back. So that feels really good for me. So let's take this now in both hands. We're going to start to activate. We've done all of our priming work. We've kind of warmed up our joints, looked into our range of motion. Now let's get into a little activation. So we want to get the glutes and hamstrings to wake up even more. So we're going to start to bridge up and down. And if your roller is a longer one, you might decide you don't want to do this, or you can hold your arms wide. But I'm just going to start to bring my arms overhead and then pull as I press into the floor with my feet. So just letting this be a time to get my shoulders moving a little bit more, get a little bit more engagement through the upper body, and then make sure you're really thinking about glutes and hamstrings. So at the top of the movement, is your hip all the way open? Are your glutes and hamstrings firing up? That's what we want. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll get to our core activation. We've got a lot of really good core work in this warm-up, so I decided to just make our warm-up basically a core workout. So here we go. We got to get warmed up. So ribs down, low back is pushing into the floor. I want you to hold your roller against your opposite knee. So I've got my right hand holding it between my left knee, and I'm going to reach my other arm and leg away. So let's do about 6, taking note of what's happening in your core. So can your low back stay the same distance from the floor, like it's not pulling up and away from the floor? Are your ribs staying down? Do you feel this in your low abs, or are you sort of straining anywhere? Let's do about 6 to 8. And then, of course, we want to make sure we're keeping tension into that roller. So let's switch. So hand is here. This knee should be stacked right over the hip. And here we go. So checking for that stability again, ribs down. Low back is not necessarily pressing into the floor, but it's not arching up and off the floor either. That little scoot you just saw me do was just a little adjustment. I just needed to make a little adjustment to stay engaged and reposition so my low back could be stable. So do what you need to do in your workouts. Always feel free to pause and reset, check your form, and then come back to it. It's all good. Okay, from here, we're gonna warm up the obliques. So coming onto our elbow, we can start this one nice and low impact with our knee down and our elbow stacked right under our shoulder, and start pressing up into our side plank. So this is level 1. Feel free to come back to this one anytime. Feel free to stay here if you want more. Level 2 looks like this. So coming up into a full side plank. Again, this is a great self-assessment tool. I have this conversation with clients all the time that side planks just don't really ever seem to get a whole lot easier. They're just a challenging exercise. So if you feel like these just feel hard, that means you're doing them right. So you can rest assured that's normal. So maybe checking in with that knee down, and then if you feel ready, going into that full side plank. Make sure your shoulder is right over the elbow. Inhale down, exhale, press into that side plank. And I'll make that my last one. And then we'll just take a quick pause, stretching out the side body. Start noticing what's happening. Your body's probably producing a lot more energy. You're probably feeling a little bit of a buzz, maybe getting a little bit breathless by now, so that's good. That's what we want. Okay, more core. I promise this would be a really good core-focused warm-up. So we're going to press into a plank here. Make sure you're feeling good here. Ribs are pulling up tight. Glutes are slightly on. If you're feeling good, we're going to step 1 foot forward, 1 foot forward. Notice my knees aren't touching the ground. We're going into this beast pose. So knees are hovering. I started with my right side. I'm going to do 4, leaning on the right, and then 4, leaning on the left. Okay, left side. I hope that was 4. I quite quickly lose count when I'm talking at the same time. Oh, baby. My arms are burning. I'm shaking. Last one coming up. Here we go. Last one. Okay, take a quick pause. Shake out your wrists. Whoops. We've got more core to do and upper body warm-ups. So let's go into it. Your glutes are part of your core, so stacking your shoulders over your hands again. Lift one leg, squeeze that glute. Now, pull the ribs up. I want you to think about tapping your nose to the floor between your hands. So your chest should be coming down right between your thumbs. Let's do 4 for each side. We're just warming up, getting ready for a little bit more upper body work. So smile to your body now. Trust yourself. These are the moments when you start to maybe wonder like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Is this workout going to be super hard? Like I'm already feeling tired. Or maybe you're just like, yes, bring it on. Like wherever you're at, I want you to smile to your body now and just be like, you got this. You totally have this. You already hit play. You're in. You're in for the day. So stay with it. So we're doing our little hinging. This is like a downward dog if you do yoga. And then coming back to plank. Again, just really getting into the shoulders. More of our overhead position. And now bend your knees, walk your hands back, roll on up. All right, you're doing awesome so far. Okay, let's make a nice big circle with our arm. Notice my feet, I'm kind of staggered. So I've got this leg more forward and this leg more out to the corner. So now I'm gonna hold this arm up. Hopefully my bicep is right next to my ear. Imagine I'm trying to tap the ceiling with my fingertips, but I'm gonna hinge my hips back and drive my hips forward. So I'm kind of reaching towards the corner. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. And then flip this palm forward and just glide down the inside of that leg that's in front. This is called a windmill. We're gonna come back to this in our strength workout. So we're just kind of starting to create a little bit of muscle memory. We're trying to create some connections between our muscles and our brain. So let's go back to these nice big shoulder circles. You got this. And hold at the top. And we'll do the windmill on this side. This one is great for mobility in the shoulders and hips because we've got our torso in the middle. Our torso is moving through space, which is requiring all of our joints that are connected to it to be mobile. So really focusing again on keeping that arm vertical. You're getting a lot of mobility here, and then of course core stability. So a couple more little warm-ups, getting into our core just a bit more. Let's walk back to our plank position. We'll go here and tap our shoulders once each side, and then do a little jumping jack. Tap, tap, jack. Tap, 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 tap. You got this. All right, walk it back. All right, going back to some hinging practice. Now we have our feet both forward. I'm gonna show you the side view first. I want you to think about where your hip crease is and press back through your hips and then drive your hips forward. As you do this, notice your weight shift toward your heels and load the hamstrings. When you get tall, squeeze your glutes, okay? And when you're starting to feel good with that, I want you to flow the arms, reaching up and overhead and then behind you. So reaching, driving the hip. Even though we don't have weight, I want you to think about really driving your feet into the ground and almost like you're trying to pull your mat apart to really get your hamstrings working and warm. Okay, last one. We're gonna walk back to a plank position. This time we're jogging the knees up. 10 each side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, get some water. I've got a couple sets of dumbbells here. Grab some weights if you have them handy. Some of this workout can be done with body weight only, but you will want weights for most of it. So I've got a couple sets. I've got heavier and I've got medium. I wouldn't say I have light weights today. So I want to get stronger. I want to keep lean muscle in my body. I'm using my heavy weights. So we're going to drop our shoulders into our back pockets. Same movement we just practiced with body weight. We're going to drive our hips back, load through the heels, and do a deadlift, okay? So join me, let's do about 8. We'll be doing about sets of 8 today. For most exercises, please feel free to count on your own. If this is your first workout with me, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. You'll quickly learn that I'm not great at counting and talking at the same time. So please feel free to count and know that if we do 7 or if we do 9 or if we do 10 or whatever, it's not really a big deal. It's all good. And this one's probably 8 for me right here. Might have been 9. That's okay. Bonus rep. Okay, next one. We're gonna have 1 medium to lighter weight. And keep in mind this first block, we're gonna hit all of these exercises 3 times. So first time through, you might just be guessing if you haven't done these exercises ever or in a while. You might need to assess yourself on this first round. So if you don't pick up the right weights the first time, just grab a different weight the next time. You can always pause. So here's my starting position. I'm at 90 degrees. My other arm is in a fist. So my body is in a standing plank as I raise my elbow up to shoulder height. The goal is to keep that elbow at 90. So we want to avoid letting our arm sort of straighten out. So it looks like this from the side. And this is sort of asking our core to work on stabilizing us. All right, that was 8. So other side, reset. Make sure your shoulder isn't creeping up to your ear, right? Ribs tight, fist out. Here we go. So you could definitely save time doing this with both arms at the same time, but I love working my core. And it's also kind of nice to be able to isolate and notice like, okay, is one side feeling stronger than the other one? What do I need to do to even things out, make one arm work at a time? Oh yeah, I'm gonna feel these by tomorrow for sure. Okay, great. So coming down onto our back. Actually, no, I apologize. We're not on our back quite yet. That's coming. We're gonna go back to that windmill movement. So I'm actually gonna show you one version now, and then on our next set, I'll show you another version. So coming into our windmill stance, back leg, this is our working leg. It's forward. This is our kickstand leg. It's kind of out to the side. I'm gonna load this bottom arm, work on my mobility here. Ribs are tucked. We're gonna glide down, load that back leg, and then push your back leg heel into the ground. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So I want you to notice what's happening with this upper arm. If it's really having a hard time staying vertical, I want you to try to focus on that for the last couple reps here. See if you can get your arm into more of a vertical position. And you'll see why on the next set. Spoiler alert, we're gonna be having a weight up here in this top arm, okay? So get ready for that. You can be thinking about that. Thinking about what weight might be appropriate there. So inhale, exhale, keep that arm vertical. I know when it's floating there with no weight, it's sort of easy to just forget about it and let it wander around. You might even make a fist and imagine that you're holding a weight so that you can activate that arm a little bit more. Boom. Okay. So onto our backs now. We've got chest flies. So I would go lighter than you would for a chest press. So if you're used to doing a chest press or a bench press, you probably want to bump your weight down just a little bit from that to do a fly. So with the fly, I always say it's like you're hugging a tree. You're going to pull those weights apart and then bring them together with just a soft bend in your elbows. So imagine you're hugging a tree or hugging a beach ball at the top of the movement. Same rules as with our core work. We want our ribs to stay engaged. So we don't want our back doing all kinds of arching here. We want to feel nice and grounded. And I think I've got a couple more. And boom. Okay. More core work. More core. This is a heavy core day. Okay, we're going to go one leg long. This arm is going to be long. This arm's going to be out to the side. I'm going to pull my ribs down and reach my hand toward my fingertips. This is fairly advanced. So I'm gonna get you started here and I'm gonna show some modifications. So if that doesn't feel good for you, you can keep your shoulders down and work on reaching your pinky finger towards your shin, okay? So whichever one feels like a good challenge to you, stay there for 8 to 10 reps. Ugh, yeah, super tough. And then we'll switch and go to the other side. So again, that modification, shoulders stay down. You're just focusing on keeping your ribs tight as you reach your pinky towards your shin. If you're good there, we're reaching here. So there's no right or wrong to this. I want you to listen to your body. On any given day, it might be different depending on just how you're feeling, what's going on. Especially as we get into our 40s and 50s and better, you know, our workouts just aren't gonna be linear. We might wake up with some aches and pains. We might wake up having not slept great the night before. We might have other things going on that impact how we show up in our workouts. Listen to your body, honor yourself. Let this be a celebration of what you can do today, okay? So that's our first block. Grab some water. We'll reconvene in just a moment. All right, block number 2. We've got our deadlift to kick us off. So shoulders are down and back, feet are parallel, just right under the hips. Ribs are tight, chin's tucked. Glide those weights down and drive your hips forward. Let's do 8 reps. If your weights feel particularly heavy, you might find that you're fatiguing after 5 or 6. And if your weights aren't that heavy, you might find you can easily do 10 or 12. Find your sweet spot where you feel a good challenge today. You're doing great. And that'll be my last one for that. And then we've got our shoulder raises. So going with a little bit lighter weight, still challenging. Ribs are tight, arms at 90. Let's go. You're more familiar with this routine now. So I'll be doing a little bit less cueing, a little bit less pausing, but I'll turn and show the side view. Again, working on stability through your entire body with just that arm moving. All right, other side. Ribs are tight. Raise that arm up and bring it back. Yeah. You got this. These are tough. Really tough depending on what weight you picked up. This is about the max of where I'd want to be for this exercise, weight-wise. Last one right here. Boom. Okay. So we've got our windmill to do. I mentioned that we have the option of bringing our weight up and overhead. So that would look like this. This arm is locked. This arm is going to reach towards our instep of our shoe. So try one. If it doesn't feel right, go back to this version where the weight was in the down arm. And you can even go up in weight for that. You could go a little bit heavier. So I'm going to experiment with this. Imagine you're punching the sky, ribs are tight. This back heel is loaded. And here we go. We want to keep that arm vertical the whole time, reaching up. So if that weight starts to wander out and we lose this stacked position, that's actually so much harder on our shoulder. So we want to keep this. You got it. I think this is 8 for me. Maybe it was an extra. All right, other side. Reaching that up, load that back leg, ribs are tight. Inhale and drive your hip forward. Exhale, squeeze the glute at the top. You got this. You might notice I'm sort of turning my gaze towards my top arm, sort of spotting myself, but also getting that full rotation in my torso too. So that really helps with that. So if you're able to turn and look up, do it. If not, that's okay too. Take your gaze wherever it's comfortable for you. Okay, maybe one more. Boom. Okay. On our backs, we've got chest flies. So I encourage you to go as heavy as you can on these. Again, probably lighter than you would for a chest press. Ribs are tight. I'm kind of pressing my back into the floor. Open and squeeze. So same rules as the deadlift as far as weight goes. Now that you've done a few of these, you can probably decide, okay, wow, these feel really heavy. I'm gonna fatigue after 5 or 6, and that's fine. I love working with heavy weights and doing low rep sets. If your weights feel a little bit light and you can do 10, 12, even 15, go for it. Mine are pretty much right squarely in that medium to heavy range for this exercise, where 8 to 10 feels pretty good for me. Awesome. Okay. Let's go back to that rotational core movement. So again, option one is to keep your head fully down. Option 2, you can do a little baby crunch. Option 3 is coming all the way to your elbow. So let's get these going. 8 to 10 per side. Really think about pulling your belly button down towards the mat. Okay, other side. Here we go. Get right into it. Notice I'm exhaling right at the top of the movement. That really helps to engage the core. I'm going to do one more. Boom. Okay. Give those knees a little hug. Rock side to side. We've got one more set. So grab a quick sip of water and we'll meet up in just a moment. Okay, third and final block. You know this routine by now, so let's jump right in. We've got deadlifts. Work with as heavy weights as you can, driving your hips back and squeezing your glutes at the top. So inhale, reach those hips back. Exhale, drive the hips forward. I've turned my gaze forward. Notice, while I hate turning away from the camera, I really want to keep my neck in neutral. So practice doing that yourself, kind of tucking your chin into position that you would if you had like an orange or a grapefruit under your chin, okay? Let's do those shoulder raises. 90 degrees in the elbow, ribs are tight, weight is balanced over both feet. Here we go. Exhale on the effortful portion. Inhale as you bring that weight back down. And last one. Okay, other side. Reset. Oftentimes, it's as we get fatigued that we start to lose form. So I want you to be really, really mindful as you go through these last few exercises. This is our third and final block. Make sure your form is on point. Don't let yourself get messy, okay? It's okay if it's a struggle, but I don't want it to feel messy, okay? So last option on our windmill exercise. I can't remember what arm I did first last time, but it's okay. So we're gonna hold the weight here at our shoulder and press, glide into our windmill, and then bring it back down. So we can start to kind of put that together so that we're getting more of an overhead press as we do this windmill shape. Now, I can't emphasize enough, do the version of the windmill that suits you, that you can do with the most confidence right now. This is sort of a complicated exercise. I'm not pushing a super heavy weight overhead. I want to focus on form and being safe. So you do the same at home. Please do the version that's right for you. If there's anything about this that doesn't feel right, back it up a little bit. Try a different version. And a couple more for me here. Shh. Good. Okay. Chest flies, baby. Let's go. So, ribs are set. Open the chest and squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. You got this. Again, exhaling on the effortful part of the workout, the exercise. Inhaling as you lower. I'll make this my last one. Super nice. All right. Final set of our cross crunch. Okay? Ribs tight. Reach. Reach for those toes. Come down nice and gently. We want to be gentle on our spine, gentle on our back. Give me that little exhale so you know you're really engaging the core. If my voice sounds strained, it's because I'm doing this right here with you. This is for real. That is how effortful it is for me too. Okay, ribs tight. Here we go. Last 8, 7, 6, 5. You got this. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Okay, roll onto your belly. We're going to do a quick stretch. Shake out your hips. Press into the floor. Lift your heart. If it feels good to you to come into this full upward dog, go for it. And then let's shift the hips back. Find a child's pose. So nice. You did awesome. I hope you feel so proud of yourself today. I hope that this elevated your energy, helped build your confidence, helped you find a way to just tap into your inner strength and knowing that you showed up for yourself. So give yourself some credit, some appreciation. It's not always easy to break away and make time and to do something that feels hard, but you did that, and it's proof that you can do it anytime. Let's put those feet together. Lift your heart up. Exhale. Bring your chest towards your toes. Starting to exhale a little bit more freely, a little bit more deeply, slowing things down. Let's hug one arm across the chest. I know our shoulders are going to feel all this tomorrow for sure. So maybe rolling your chin a bit. Let's go to the other side. Roll your chin a bit. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open your heart. Roll your chin one more time each way. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this elevated your spirit, energized your body, and empowered your mind for the rest of the day.